Moments after leaving the courtroom for a judgment passed prohibiting the MDC protest, demonstration rather, I have the Vice President of the MDC Alliance, Mr. Biti. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Are you good?
Not really. It's just devastating.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. We have grown up under fascism, and by now you think we'll be used to the acts of fascism, but you can't get used to them.
What did you really expect? I mean, I know that the demonstration had been resisted in a lot of ways, and as you've known, you've been in MDC since 1999. So sometimes things like this shouldn't come as a surprise to you, but what outcome did you really think you were going to get?
We actually thought that the court would set aside the police prohibition order issued at 2100 hours yesterday. Last night, yeah. And the reason we thought so is that the MDC is a peaceful, non-violent party. We had said in our papers, and we had given a history of the huge demonstrations that we've had in the past that included the June 2004 final push, the May 2005 demonstrations against the cleanup operation, Operation Murabachino. This included the Democratic Resistance Campaigns, DRC, we held in 2007, including the heavy assaults that Morgan Changirai and some of us suffered at Machipisa, police station in Highfield. This included the massive electoral reform demonstrations we had last year on the 8th of June 2018 and the 5th of July 2018, which were thousands of people. So we thought that the courts know our DNA, we are peaceful, they would actually set aside the prohibition order. So we were extremely disappointed.
So given the outcome, maybe just highlight to us the key reasons why they stopped you.
The police said in their prohibition order that number one, the demonstration will interfere with the Harare agricultural show that is starting on Monday. Our demonstration is today on the 16th, not on the 19th. So how a demonstration on the 16th, 4 days before, can interfere with an agricultural show eludes my wisdom. They also said that
do they give reason?
Yes, they published. They gave reasons.
No, I'm saying the reason for why they think it will affect the agric show.
No, that's what they just said. That's what they just said. Yeah. Point number two, they said Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa is going to address a meeting at the Harare Gardens of ZANU-PF youths called Youths in Agriculture. But Harare Gardens is nowhere near the scheduled roadmap and route
that you were going to
we were going to use. And our demonstration was only going to take at most an hour. So there's no connection at all. Third, they said, there were catapults and stones that were connected and picked and confiscated by the police from two unmarked vehicles on Monday. And we say to the judge, but there's no connection at all.
These are unmarked vehicles, so they still have no evidence that they came from
There's no connection at all between us
and those vehicles. Besides,
you have in your possession the catapults.
So are they still a problem?
They are still not a problem. So that's why we are so hurt, we are so disappointed, we are so flabbergasted.
I'm really sorry.
And also
for that.
The other reason that they said, which was their main reason, was that we as the police do not have sufficient manpower to monitor and supervise
the
demonstration. Yet they have thousands and thousands of police that have sealed off and cordoned off Harare. No one can enter Harare right now. You can drop a pin in Harare now. So they've got manpower to prevent the realization of the right to freedom of assembly, but they don't have manpower. So it's just crazy.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So what does this mean for the further demonstrations in the other cities around Zimbabwe? Because naturally, varkuona outside, vachati kana zvarambizwa muHarare tozodii kubulawayo, tozodii kwaMutare. do you think the momentum will still be there? And do you as leaders have the capacity to still get people to join your demonstration?
Yes, we have absolutely no doubt that there will be hundreds of thousands of people in Bulawayo, in Gweru, in Mashingo, in Mutari. What is making people go on the streets is because of the crisis. People are hungry. People are unemployed. 7.5 million people have to be fed. What will cause people to go on the streets are the 18-hour power blackouts, are the huge, humongous petrol queues. What will make people go on the street is the realization that this is the crisis of governance.
Right.
This is a crisis of legitimacy. So when a mother looks at a child whom she hasn't paid for school fees, when a father looks at a grandmother who is dying because she can't afford the diabetic tablets, the hypertension tablets, they will go on the streets. It
But
is
for
not
clarity,
us. Yes,
for
it is the
clarity-
crisis.
For clarity, the other cities and towns, have they got clearance, police clearance? Or are you going to face the same challenge again?
Let me be very clear, Ruvheneko. The law is very clear. We don't need police clearance. All we need to do is to notify the police. This is what we have done. So we have notified the police, and the demonstrations are going on.
So just educate those of us who are not as educated and equipped with the law as you are. Saganasi Marambidzuri, Chirudzi.
Because
why did you act like you applied
the
and
police,
then they said no?
No, because the police, POSA, the Public Order
Yes.
Security Act,
Yes.
is a
The one
fascist.
that everyone wants repealed,
Yeah,
or many people.
it's a fascist piece of legislation that is worded almost word for word with the 1956 Suppression of Communism Act of South Africa,
Okay.
of apartheid South Africa. Remember, apartheid came into being in 1949. Then the nationalist government passed the 1956 Suppression of Communism Act. So our POSA is worded word for word with that act.
Right.
So the law says we give notification, but the law then gives the police the power of issuing a prohibition order. So unless and until a prohibition order has been issued in Bulawayo,
You
in
assume that things go
Mashingo,
on as normal.
we are proceeding.
So what if they do the same thing at 9 o'clock tonight, they prohibit you tomorrow?
We will still go to the courts, but there will come a time
Yeah.
there will come a time that we will have to say to this regime, you don't want to dialogue with us. You don't want that people to demonstrate. What else do you want us to do?
Do you want to dialogue with them?
Yes, people are suffering.
You do?
Yes, we want
Is
to.
your leader ready to sit down with
Yes,
President Mnangagwa?
3 weeks ago, President Chamisa launched the Reload. And the whole essence of Reload is Nelson Chamisa saying to Emmerson Mnangagwa, come, let us break bread in order to create a soft landing for our people who are suffering, our people who don't have jobs. So President Chamisa is waving a white flag to Emmerson Mnangagwa. Regrettably, there will come a time when there will not be any flags being waved. So to avoid an implosion and to create a soft landing, Emmerson Mnangagwa must understand that Nelson Chamisa is his ally, an ally of peace, an ally of sustainability, because this is a temporary window. This is a honeymoon, and no honeymoon lasts forever.
So when the honeymoon is over, what happens? What's the implosion?
I think that the implosion will actually start from the system itself. I think that if you are a student of history as you are, you will know, Ruvheneko, that in Africa there is no coup which is not a twin. So we are heading for another military coup in this country. If not a coup, another implosion with people with or without the MDC now going on the streets on their own.
The revolution of the hungry.
The revolution of the hungry, and you know people are hungry. So if a lawful opposition is saying let's talk, listen to them, because there will come a time when a people with or without leadership will on their own take matters into their hands and go into the streets.
But your strategy as the opposition will always be dialogue.
Our strategy is peaceful, our strategy is non-violent. And remember...
But will you join the revolution of the hungry if people go on the street? Because that sometimes doesn't always end peacefully.
the movement for democratic change is committed to peaceful and constitutional change. But the people of Zimbabwe are committed to change whatever it comes. And the regime must know that.
And you will support that.
And remember, this is a country that was born of an armed liberation struggle. People of Zimbabwe did not go and fight white people. They went and fought injustice. And injustice is meted out by black people and by white people.
Yeah.
Injustice is injustice.
Yeah. Mr. Biti, I want to just go back to what you talked about, when we talked about the next plans for the next stages for the MDC and the week you're trying to have now with the demonstrations. One thing I want to just understand is, when we talk of this demonstration, Zimbabweans are, after November of 2017, Zimbabweans have a lot of expectation for what is supposed to happen in Zimbabwe. And my question is, if the demonstrations are successful in each town and each city, what next?
The country, Ru, is very fragile and very vulnerable. There's never been a history, there's never been a moment in the history of our country where multiple crises have converged at one historical juncture. So we've got the crisis of hunger. 7.5 million people have to be fed. With the crisis of an economic meltdown, where inflation is now over 500%, where the growth rate, there's no productivity, the growth rate is minus 8.5%, where 95% of the people are unemployed. We've got a social crisis, there's no water, there's no electricity, there is no power. We've
So
got a
will
social
the demonstration ease all of
So
this?
the state is vulnerable. The state
It is.
cannot withstand
Any more pressure?
this being stretched.
Right.
A demo in Mutare, a demo in
Yes.
Gweru, it cannot withstand. It will crumble. It will crack.
So the idea is to try and make them crack. Because most people will say, especially my generation, Mr. Biti, to go in that to demonstrate, to batadi.
Yeah, but we demonstrated on the 18th of November, and President Mugabe resigned on the 23rd of November 2017.
So is that what
And
you intend? Do you hope to overthrow the Emerson Mnangagwa government with demonstrations? Because the next election is in 4 years.
There has to be a people's government. There must be a people's government. A government that respects the outcome of the 2018 election.
Right.
But we want dialogue. Our real document is very clear. We want to dialogue with Emerson Mnangagwa. We want to dialogue with.
What do we want? Do you want?
We
a
want
GNU?
comprehensive.
Do you want to,
We want comprehensive reforms, Ruvheneko. We want comprehensive political reforms.
Yes.
We want comprehensive electoral reforms. We want comprehensive legal reforms.
Yes.
We want comprehensive constitutional reforms.
yes.
We want comprehensive economic reforms. Once we agree with the ZANU-PF on these reforms, let's then agree on how we implement these reforms.
so
and
does this involve a leadership share structure? Do you want a power sharing deal? Or do you want to just dialogue, give them your beautiful ideas, and then have them
we
implement
want comprehensive reforms.
You don't want power sharing. You don't want.
We are not
there to
interested
be-
in that. We're in a government of national unity
Right.
that brought nothing. We want comprehensive reforms
Okay.
that will lead to a genuine, free and fair election.
The next
That's
time
what
around.
we want.
That's what you
but
want.
we have to debate the implementation mechanism.
Right.
We have to debate how SADC is going to oversee the implementation of those reforms. Once we are certified on an implementation mechanism, we are happy.
Sure.
Yeah, but we cannot let ZANU-PF enforce reforms that will in fact take them out of power. We are not naive. We were
Got
not
it.
born yesterday.
Got it. Now, in conclusion, do you think today was a failure or success for the MDC alliance?
Oh, today exposed the regime. The regime has been putting on makeup. The regime has been putting on mascara and powder. That it is a new dispensation. That it is the Second Republic. That it is ready for business. That Zimbabwe is open for business. But today, the people of Zimbabwe and the international community saw that Mugabe was a baby. Emerson is the grandmaster, the godfather, the headmaster of fascism, of authoritarianism, of dictatorship, of tyranny. People of Zimbabwe were refused to exercise a basic right to demonstrate, codified in Section 59 of the Constitution, codified in terms of Article 20 of the Universal Declaration of Rights, Article 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 12 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So the African people, the international community, and the Zimbabweans have seen beyond the makeup, beyond the powder, beyond the lipstick. You cannot put lipstick on a crocodile. So we have succeeded. We've exposed the regime.
There you have it, the Vice President of the MDC Alliance, Mr. Tendai Biti, his sentiments as today the prohibition ordered by the police to stop their demonstration. Now we wait and see what happens in the rest of Zimbabwe over the next couple of days. We wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.